I've just been sitting here watching the stalkers outside for the last like 5 minutes. I usually just ignore them when I'm in my apartment, but I've just been sitting here watching them tonight for like 5 minutes. And it has been nonstop for 5 minutes. It's 9:52 right now, p.m. on a Sunday night or on a Saturday night, I guess. So I guess it is a Saturday night, but still, it's a lot of synced traffic out here. Like all of the cars on the street are synced. Every single car driving by is synced. And it's just wave after wave of stockheads. Like it's like only a few cars at a time, like 3 cars or 4 cars at the most at a time, or like occasionally there'll be a burst of more cars, but still it's like non-stop though. And then a guy on a bicycle rode by, and then there's been all these engine sounds out here just like close by. And then there's been like before, like earlier today, there was like I don't know how many sirens, like 5 sirens a day. It's a lot of emergencies today that went off synced and then honked their horns synced. And then I went outside earlier today and there was a bird stalking me. I was just standing outside and there's this bird that kept flying up and landing on the telephone pole or the electrical wires synced. Like kept landing on the wire synced and then flying to another wire and like flying like over my head and stuff and like chirping and shit. Like doing all the sync shit, synced with cars and shit. Like occasionally it'll just be one bird that's like bullying me. Or like an insect coming up flying in my face or whatever. There's just this one bird that was like flying around, stalking me. And then, like I've said before, last year, there's this robin that would just be outside every time I would go outside. Like last summer, for a while, and then he wasn't there anymore. But it was like a month straight at least, or something like that. Or like every time I would go outside, there'd be this robin there, and he'd be in this one spot on the ground. He'd be stalking me and chirping, synced and shit. Actual facts. And there's been cars driving by non-stop, synced the entire time I'm talking, and then the AC thing outside my apartment keeps turning on off synced with traffic. And I saw a piglet drive by a minute ago. And I saw this guy today like walk down in front of me on the sidewalk, and then he like picked something up off the side of the sidewalk, and he had a red coat on. Like he just picked something up in front of me, like up ahead of me on the sidewalk. And then I was out, and then he walks back the other way. And then when I walk by him, he turns and like he's like walking like to the left of me, like walking that direction, like walking left. you know, and then he turns left when I walk by him. And I knew he was gonna do something like that too. I was like, I know something like this is gonna happen. And then the exact thing that I thought was gonna happen happened. I'm like, damn, he actually did it. He turned right when I walked by him. That's insane. My water heater just turned on right when I stopped talking. And then this car just drove around the corner and there's engine sound with it. It's just one car drives out and I'm like, something's gonna happen. And then he goes around the corner and then there's the engine sound at the exact same time. And then that's it, and there's nothing right now. And then something's gonna happen any second. But I was recording him too. Here's the truck. He's coming in the parking lot. He's gonna stalk me. Why is he gonna stalk me? I don't have any idea. I mean, I got some ideas, but I don't know. He's parking pointed at my window. He sees headlights. And then a car drove out, and then it synced with a white truck. And then there's someone walking. And they got to the street right when the white truck went around the corner. And I think I hear people screaming out there and shit. And there's people yelling synced outside today as usual. And that's happening every weekend, like in the nighttime. It's always happening. That was happening today though. But I mean, it happens a lot. It happens like every day. But like, yeah. And then this other truck just came and parked, and he's also pointed right at me, and this car drove off the side of the street at the same time. And then they're walking across the parking lot, and they're walking in front of the intersection right as this truck drives through it. And then the first truck that parked turned off at the same time, and another car drove out at the same time. And then the one guy has a red shirt. And then they like stop and turn around. This other car drives out, and like, bruh. There's just a lot of stupid shit happening out here. It's just dumb as fuck. And someone walked out to a car and like their headlights turn on when they open it, and then they close it and the headlights turn off, and these cars are driving out synced with it. And it's like 4 cars that drove out. And then on that video that I did yesterday, there's this little girl at the start of it with red shirt on. And like I pointed my camera down, like, cause they had her like running up in front of me. But she ran out like by the curb, and then she like ran back up on the sidewalk like at me, you know, like sideways across the sidewalk. I was sitting on the bench on the sidewalk. She like runs up at me, you know. There's always little children stalking me every day. The fuck is that shit? Why is there children stalking me? That shit's weird. Sometimes it's just so crazy. Like it will be like I was walking today and it was like up ahead of me on the street. It was like all blue cars at the intersection, and it's like six blue cars or something like that. It's like a lot of blue cars. They're just all at the intersection at once, and then after they go through, it's all white cars at the intersection. It's just like not discreet at all. Like it's just crazy. It's like how like it's just magically all blue cars or like all tan cars or whatever. It's just magically like that. Right? That makes sense. Like you can't say that it's nothing. I don't get like the argument. I don't understand the logic of how it's nothing. You can't. Nah. It's not nothing. It's something. It's either stalker heads or I'm literally inside of a video game. It's one of the two. There's no other option. It's not nothing. That's not possible. There's this truck and all these other cars, and I heard this weird sound at the same time. I don't know if it was like a tire screeching or something. I don't know what it was. I heard some weird ass sound when I was outside too. That like I don't know if it's like I don't know. I don't even remember what it sounded like. It was some weird ass sound though, like it was on a speaker or something. This is right as I open the door to go in my apartment. They just do all types of weird ass shit. I was hearing some weird sounds, like some weird frequency last night outside. Like when I was in my apartment, I don't know what it was, if it was a stalker thing or what it was. It was probably some type of stalker thing, most likely. And I heard a plane fly over my apartment today. And like whenever I go out in the day, it's just nonstop cars driving by. Like unless I'm like on a side street, like But even then, it's like a dog barking if it's not that, or it's like some type of engine sounds or whatever. Insects flying in my face and shit, and birds and squirrels. And there's this one house that has a cat that'll come out and stalk me occasionally, and there's a couple houses with dogs that like in their fenced-in backyard that like they stalk me like, through the fence. Or just a dog out in the yard and it starts barking. Like this dog today barked right when I got to the street, and then he stops barking, and then he barks right when I get across the street. And all these cars are synced up right now, and then there's no more cars, and then it's all gonna be synced cars again when I see cars again. And it's just always synced cars, and there's no unsynced cars out here tonight. So far, I haven't seen a single unsynced car. They're all synced. And it's a lot of them. Like they've been going the whole time I've been talking. And then a blue sync head drove by and synced up with the AC outside my apartment. I saw, never mind. I saw this red truck and I was like, it wasn't synced. But then I see this cat walking out from under the semi, and he probably walked out of it synced. It's this orange cat that I always see, I think. Probably the same cat. And then he's gonna sync when he walks out of sight or something. I don't know, he walked out of sight and there wasn't sync. I mean, I heard this like noise in my apartment, but I don't know if it was synced with it. Maybe it was synced with it. And then my one neighbor, he has this camera thing in his apartment door. And he's always making sounds with it. I think that's what's making sounds. I don't know. He's always making these weird ass sounds. It's gotta be a camera. But it'll just, like, it used to just make this one beeping sound. It's like, boop, or whatever. And I can hear it inside my apartment too, and it'll do it synced with what I'm doing inside of my apartment. And it'll just do it right when I walk by it and stuff like that. Right when I come out of my door or go in my door or whatever. But then he's been making all these other sounds with it and just like walking around the hall and making all these beeping, booping sounds and shit. Just all these weird ass sounds. And then there's all these weirdos driving by in cars right now, synced up. And then here comes a bright headlight car. Is it a white car? It's a silver truck, but it's synced with a white car. And then it's synced with the silver, or no, then it's synced with another car that's coming around the corner. And then there's no more cars. And it's just me out here. I'm the only unsynced one. the moon orange? I can't see the moon right now. No, it's not orange, it's white. Just like this car that drove out of synced with the other car, it's white. And then another whitey's driving out, or maybe it's the same one coming around the other way, I don't know. I think it's a tan car behind it too. There are a bunch of stalker heads. They're addicted to stalking. But yeah, during the daytime though, it's just 1,000 cars nonstop all day if I go outside. Like on the busy streets. Like on the, or like on like Norfolk Avenue and just like regular streets like that. It's just 1,000 of them at a time for all day, nonstop. And then occasionally they'll disappear for like 10 seconds and then they'll be back nonstop again. They'll disappear for like at the very most a minute or like not even that. They gotta make sound effects at least or something. But yeah, last night in the middle, or like, I don't know what time it was, probably like midnight or something. There's people outside, like screaming, like yelling, synced. And then I think there was a siren last night. I don't remember something. Some others, a loud ass truck nearby or something like that. I don't know. I just like go back to sleep. I'm like, fuck them. But they'll do it like every time I wake up in the middle of the night, usually. Or like, yeah. They'll do something like my water heater will turn on or something. Like, they just have to do something. Like, oh shit, he's awake. There's no cars nearby. Turn on his water heater. Or make the toilet go. Or turn on his refrigerator. Or turn on his fucking. Or turn on the AC outside the apartment. Or turn on the heater. Make the heater click synced. Or have someone walk out in the hallway. Or fucking fly an insect into my window or something. Make an insect fly up and hit my window and go. You just can't stop, dude. Never. And then, like, occasionally they will, though. Occasionally it'll be like a few minutes or whatever. It'll be like, or like occasionally, like when I'm sitting in my apartment there'll be nothing for a while. Like if I'm just like sitting, like doing something, like say I'm watching a movie or something, there'll be like nothing going on. And then like I pause the movie and I stand up and then there's a sound all of a sudden. But like right now, I'm just sitting here looking out my window and they're just driving around nonstop. Just a bunch of synced cars, and then there's this one in the parking lot right now. He's a blue car. And he pulled up synced. People got out of it synced with the cars driving down the street. And there's a lot of cars on the street synced with each other and with the car in the parking lot, and they're all synced with each other. And they're just pulling up to sync, I guess. I guess that's just what people do, is they just pull up in a parking lot to sync. It still boggles my mind that that's what people do, is just pull up in a parking lot to sync. Like, that's what's happening right now, right outside my apartment window. I don't know why it's happening. I don't know why they gotta sync, but they gotta sync though. Go outside and ask them what's up. Nah. They'll probably drive off before I get out there anyway. They'll drive out right as I'm walking out the door. They'll drive by me. Something like that. But you just drop someone off or something, and they're like waiting for them to come back out or something, and they're just like sitting in the parking lot. But like, they did it sync though. And then these three cars drove out on two different streets and one in the parking lot, and they all drove out synced with each other. And then right when the one car turned to park in the driveway, the AC outside my apartment turned off. And then it's just like quiet now. And then there's this car coming out on the street. And then he's gonna sync when he goes around the other corner. And the car in the driveway flashes lights synced with it, I think, or something. And then there's two cars driving out on the street. And then sync. And then they synced with another car. And then they just turned music on the blue car in the parking lot. And it was probably synced with the other car. Because that's a terrorist tactic they do, is they turn their music on synced sometimes. Just is the idiotic terrorist tactics they do. And then right when I stood up, this guy just like jumped out of the passenger side and he was like yelling or like singing with music or something and like dancing and shit and laughing, and then he got back in the car and closed the door. And then these two other cars drove out and I heard some tapping noise in my apartment. It was probably someone in the hallway or something. This is just what happens every day. It's just this. And then two more cars drive out and they're synced with each other. They're both white cars, I think. But then right when they go around the other corners, the blue car is taking off all of a sudden. And then this other car drove out and I think it was synced to the blue car. And then he's going around the corner, synced with this red truck, I think. But they weren't quite synced all the way, but they're almost synced. The red truck needed to speed up a little bit. He didn't sync it. Fail. Call and tell amateurs. There's three more. There's four more sync heads driving out. Oh, and then there's a fifth sync head coming in. He's a blue car. Is it the same blue car? He's coming back around in the parking lot. And then there's this engine sound right as he turns to park. Oh, and then he's backing up again. And then a white car drives out right as he stops. And then he drives forward as another car drives out. And I think it's another whitey. Yep. And then it syncs with a red truck. And then the blue car synced with the red truck. Like the blue car is parked with his tail lights pointed at me, and he's like right in front of where the intersection is. Right when the red truck went through the intersection, the blue car's like let off his brakes or something. And then these two other sync heads drove out, and then the red truck's coming back around, I think, or a different red truck or something. And it's probably synced with the other cars. And then the blue car is just sitting in the parking lot again with his taillights pointed at me. Like, not at me, but like pointed away from me in the parking lot. And then he just jumped out of his car and he's dancing again. He's playing loud music. And then there's a whitey driving out and he jumps back in his car when the whitey drives out. And there's another whitey behind the whitey. There's just two cars close together. And then there's white truck. And then nothing happened with it. Was he a whitey? I assume he was whitey, but then this white truck was a whitey. It synced with another car. This is so dumb, bro. Oh, here's a white car. Was it a whitey? I don't know. It was just a white car by itself again. And then there was another car by itself. Nice. Finally. I'm seeing cars by themselves. A few of them, but they're probably stalkers too. I don't know. I just saw another car by itself. Nice. That's 3 cars by themselves in a row. Usually when I see a car, there's another car with it, at least one. And they're perfectly synced with each other. Or if not a car, then a sound or something perfectly synced with it. Or a bug flying in my face right as a car drives through an intersection or something. I think this light just turned on this building synced with this car when I drove out. Like a light in a window in a building. I'm pretty sure it wasn't on before and it just turned on right now. I don't know. I swear I just saw it turn on right now out of the corner of my eye, but I'm not really sure about it, but it looked like it. It was right when the car went around the corner. But I've definitely seen that one before. They'll just turn on a light or off inside of a building or off and on a bunch of times or whatever. Or right as I walk by, like right as I walk by a business, like downtown or whatever, the light will turn off inside. Stuff like that. Or one night I walked by a bar and they had the open sign, like the neon sign in the window, and it turned off right as I walked by the window. Or they'll just be like washing the window right as I walk by it, like inside the business. They'll just be like spraying Windex on it right when I walk by it. Or like walking up, doing something right next to the window right when I walk by the window. Things like that is always happening. Or they'll just walk up to the door to come out of the door when I walk by the door, and then they'll come out. Like this one girl did this the other day. She walked out of a car seeing twin in the door in front of me, like when I got across the street or whatever. And then I'm walking by the door of the building, and she walks up, like it's a glass door. And she walks up to the door inside as I walk by the door, and then she walks out behind me after I walk by the door. I think she had a red shirt, if I remember right. And this blue car is still just sitting here. There's always bots driving by the whole time I'm talking. Yeah, you don't hear any cars. Yeah, they're not loud cars right now, but there was some before I went live on here. I recorded it. But they were just making engine sounds, like I didn't see the car or anything. But they were making engine sounds synced with other cars and shit. like at least like one time per day they gotta hit me with frequencies in my ears. Some days it's more than one time per day. Some days just one time per day, but I think it's every day though. Lately it's every day. And sometimes like really minor, and then sometimes like really intense, and it just feels like they're scrambling my brains and shit. But yeah, the blue car is still just sitting out here. I think they're waiting for somebody to come back out of the building. And they probably got a red shirt or something. Or they're gonna get in right as the dog barks or something stupid. Right as the car alarm starts, they're gonna come out of the building or something. I don't think I've heard any car alarms today. I don't really think about it, but I've been hearing them like every day though. Pretty much. And then there's these people who yelling, they're like, woohoo! Right over the fuck. It's like right when I'm like coming back up to my window. I don't see them. I don't know where they're at. Or maybe it's the guy in the blue car or something. I don't know. He might have just rolled down his window and did that or something. I don't know. Somebody that's a stalker, though. Whoever it is. And it's just non-stop cars driving by. There's engine sound right now. It just seems with a car driving by. And then he just got louder again right now. And then the AC outside my apartment just turned on synced. And it was like, it was off for a long time. I just realized like it was off for a really long time, and then it just turned back on again right now. I'm just like waiting to see when the blue car is gonna take off, though. He's still sitting there. Like, turn your car off, bro. You're gonna run out of gas. Damn. How long you been there? An hour? Fuck. more sync heads rolling out on 2 different streets synced with each other. Oh yeah, and then on yesterday's video, when I was walking by a pier, there's these guys that come out of it, and like they come out as I walk by a corner of a building, but it was also as I walked by this white SUV that had a 33 license plate on it. But this guy was just sitting in it in the parking lot, like it was turned on. He was just sitting there in the parking lot, but he never did anything. But he's just sitting there parked at the corner of the building that I'm walking by. And then right at that moment, these guys walk out of the building. So like they just have this guy sitting there in a whitey with a 33 on it. And then those guys that came out of the building, they're just standing there and they're just smiling, staring at me. Like they come out of the door staring at me, and then they're just standing there staring at me and just smiling with this goofy smile on their face. And then right when I walk by them, they walk away. And then right when I walk up to the intersection, right after that, there's a white truck turning into the parking lot with a 33 license plate. Like 10 seconds after the other 33 whitey that I walked by. And then there's this white car just creeping by my window right now. He just like drove up really slowly. Like he just drove into the parking lot like kind of fast, and then he just like slows down when he goes by my window. And then he speeds up again when he drives by me. And then this guy's coming back out to the blue car, and right when he walks up to the car, a white car drives out on the street, and then right when he opens the car door, the building door opens and someone else is walking out. And then the car drives off synced with 2 other cars, and it's synced with another blue truck, I think. It's synced with another blue truck and a red car, and I think another red car. Some other type of car. And then they're all driving out on the street and they're syncing with other cars. And the blue car is getting to the intersection. I heard a car door close, and it was the other person that walked out of the building. And then they're taking off. Are they taking off yet? Or are they gonna sit there forever too? What are they gonna do? Okay, they're taking off. And then there's someone else walking out of the building as they're taking off. And then they got one white tail light, like the light underneath the red tail light. That's like a white light, you know? One of those is out. They got the one white tail light underneath the red tail lights. And then they drive out synced with 2 other cars, and then where'd the other person that came out go? Where did they go? I don't even know. Did they get in the car? What's happening? There's an engine sound going off synced with cars going around the corner on the street. And then I saw a car that looked like it was just by itself, so it's like 5 regular cars that I've seen this entire 50 minutes out of 1,000. So we're still outnumbered TIs and regular unsynced drivers. We're outnumbered. And then there's a whitey driving in the parking lot, and he's turning as another car drives through the intersection behind him, right behind him. From my perspective, the car was behind him, and then he backs up, and then he drives forward with another car driving out behind him. Like going the other way. And then he parked, and he's gonna get out with the red shirt and do a clown dance or something. Oh, you don't got a red shirt? But right when he turned to walk in the door, the AC outside my apartment turned off. And then I think he went in the door with his car driving out or something like that. And then I see someone else walking around, and then I see these two cars, and then it syncs with another car, and then the AC outside my apartment turns on again at the same time, and then this car is gonna sync with another car, and then it does, and then there's another car starting at the same time in the parking lot. And the guy goes in the door, and the door closes as another car goes through the intersection. That was synced with the other cars on the street that synced with the truck turning on in the parking lot. And then when he drives out, he's gonna be a white truck or something, I bet. Or he's gonna have one headlight. Or he's gonna drive out with a white truck. Or he's gonna be a silver truck with a black car. Something. Well, it's a car. I think he's a black car, and he syncs with these two black cars. Or no, he's a silver car, and he synced with these two black cars. When he took off out of the parking lot, and then he synced with a whitey when he went around the last corner. Or no, it's not a whitey, it's another silver car, and then it synced with another black car, and then the silver cars come back around, and this cat ran out at the same time. A cat. And then he ran out of sight synced with the silver car driving out of sync, and then there's no more anything out there. And then there's a car coming, and then he's gonna sync. He's syncing with Whitey. And he's syncing with another car. And it's a Domino's car. It's a Domino's car. It's a Domino's Whitey. And I think he was a Whitey too. There's 3 Whiteys. It was either a silver car syncing with 2 Whiteys or 3 Whiteys, and then there's no more cars. They just have all these different setups, and then nothing, and then a different setup. It's like a different movie scene. It's just like a different chain reaction of the crisis actor nonsense, and then nothing, and then another crisis actor show. Another episode of the crisis actor show. But now there's nothing for like the last, since then. How long has it been? A minute? This is a long time. Something's gonna happen any second. Damn, this is a long time. This is cool. But the AC outside my apartment just turned on around and leaned up to the window, so that just happened. This is cool. I don't see any stalkers or anything. It's either stalkers or nothing. And then a white truck is driving out. And then he's syncing with another car around the other corner. And then another car is driving out. And then it syncs with another car driving out. And then it syncs with another car driving out around the other corner. And then no more cars. And someone's walking out of the building now. And then they're getting in a white truck. And then it turns on right as the AC outside my apartment turns off. And then it's gonna back up when a wave of cars drive out, and it's gonna be 10 cars all driving out synced with each other, and then there's gonna be no cars when they all drive around the corners, right? Is that what's gonna happen when the white truck backs up? Right when he drives forward, another car is backing up. It's a red car. They're both leaving out of the parking lot. Alright, I think they might have synced with the AC outside my apartment turning back on, like when the white truck started to drive out of the parking lot or something like that. I think that happened, I don't know. I was expecting a bunch of cars to drive out, but not that time. But they were sync heads up. There's just more sync heads. Again. It's just non-stop sync heads. And then I don't know, do they have the drones out there with their lights off or something? I haven't seen the drones in forever, but they might be out there with their lights off or something. I don't know. I can't remember the last time I saw a drone though. But I definitely see them sometimes. And they'll do synced up things too. They'll fly around synced and like weird shit. And then my refrigerator just turned on. A whitey drove out. A white SUV. AC outside, or the AC thing outside my apartment turned off when another whitey drove out, and then he synced with another whitey at the other corner. And then nothing again. And then whitey is driving out again, and then he's gonna sync again at the other corner. Nope, he didn't. I think it was the same white car from before, so it was probably a whitey. But he didn't do anything that time. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why he didn't do anything that time. If it's the same whitey, here comes a cop, and then he's syncing with this other car. He's syncing with some type of car twice. Synced with the same car twice at each corner. And then 2 more cars are synced up. And then it's nothing in between all these cars syncing up. This is nothing. And then cars syncing up. And then nothing. And then cars syncing up. And then nothing. And then here comes a car and it's gonna sync up. It's synced up with the AC outside my apartment turning on. And it's coming back around. It's gonna sync with this whitey, and it's gonna sync with this red truck. And it was a silver car, and they were all synced up with each other. Because it just goes on and on. But I don't want to sit here staring out my window for another hour or so. I've been on here an hour already, so just wanted to say it's stupid out here again. This is really dumb, and this is really dumb. And there's a lot of stalkers driving out now. It's like a lot of them right now, and they all drove out, and then there's no more cars again. What else happened today? I saw a cop meet me at an intersection today. Apparently that's just what the cops, that's just their main job, is just to drive around stalking me, stalking PIs, just stalking and speed trapping. And apparently the ambulance and the fire truck's main job is just to stalk with their sirens. And these 2 Domino's cars just drove out synced, and then they're meeting each other at the intersection synced. And then the other day I saw 2 telelifts drive by me, like right next to me as I was walking on the sidewalk. There's 2 telelifts going opposite directions right next to me. And then I don't know. Like I said the other day, I was at the library and um, I was really struggling that day. I was hungry, and these stalkers walk in behind me, and they're like, "I'm starving," right as they walk behind me in the library, like they're coming in the door. It's like right as they walk behind me, they're like, "I'm starving," and then they're walking around synced inside the library. But it's like they said that synced just because I'm struggling. It's just to like rub it in. I think it had to be because it's right when they walk behind me. And then like every time I go out anywhere, there's always people pointing synced. And it's like, look over there. What's that? They're like, I think that place is over there. They're like pointing up the sidewalk, or they're pointing at something in a store window or something. Or if I'm like inside of a store, they're like pointing at something on the shelf right as I walk by them. Stuff like that. They're always pointing synced or pointing at something behind me as I walk toward them on the sidewalk, but it's like they're pointing at me. Or like if I'm looking out my apartment window, they'll like point up toward my apartment window. Stuff like that. They're always pointing synced. Like every time I go outside, there's people pointing synced. And then yesterday when I was recording, there's these people in the parking lot of the Salvation Army. They're like over by there, like over by the bank, or like on the other side of the parking, like over by the intersection, sort of in the parking lot in the white car. And like I walk by him, and I knew that like there's someone standing outside of the car talking to somebody in a white car, sitting in the driver's seat in the white car, sitting in the parking lot, right? And I knew that when I walked by him, they're gonna say "see ya" to each other and walk away from me. And then they did that. Right as I walk in front of the car, they're like, "See you later." And he walks away from the car, the white car. and then I was like, "See you later." And then he follows me up the sidewalk. It looked like he was walking the other way at first. And then he like follows me up the sidewalk. He's like right behind me all the way up the sidewalk, and then I get to the intersection. Or he's like getting like closer and closer to me progressively as I walk up to the intersection. They'll always do this. It's either they're behind me or they're in front of me. And like they'll do that. They'll be like walk up behind me and get closer to me. Or they'll be in front of me and they'll be slowing down so that right when I walk up to the intersection, they're meeting me at the intersection. This is always happening, like every day, people are doing this. They'll either be in front of me or behind me, slowing down or speeding up to meet me at the intersection, right? So he did that. He was behind me. He speeds up to meet me at the intersection progressively so that he's just like inching toward me. And then right when we get to the intersection, he's meeting me. and he's spitting right as he like walks up behind me up to the intersection. And I see people spitting occasionally, like it's not like that common, but that guy did it yesterday. I get a lot of coughing stalkers, but the spitting is kind of a rare one, but occasionally they'll be spitting synced. And then this one guy was spitting at me one day because I was like pissed him off or whatever. And he was like driving up, harassing me and spitting at me out of his window. And then he like got out of his car and was like walking up to me, like walking next to me. He's like, "You got a fucking problem, bro," or whatever the fuck you saying. And then he spit, or he got back or he's like spitting at me again and yelling at me and shit. And then he got back in his truck, and then he met me at the intersection and spit at me again. And he like spit on me, like spit on my coat. I didn't realize that he actually spit on me until I got home. I looked down at my coat, and there's fucking loogie hanging on my coat. And he spit out of his window on me. And he drove close to me, like as I was crossing the street, he like drove up really fast, like he was gonna hit me or something, and like spit on me. And then this one stalker that was one of the ones that I thought was my friend, is a fake friend, I guess, or whatever the fuck. He like lightly slapped me on the face one day. He like got all in my face like he was gonna fight me, but then he just like lightly slaps me on the face to like try to provoke me to fight him or something or whatever the fuck. Cause I was just like, "Why do you do that?" And then he just got all pissed off at me and was like getting all in my face like he's gonna kick my ass. So occasionally they'll be aggressive like that, whatever. But I don't know. Nobody's actually like punched me or anything. I don't know if they're allowed to or not or what, but the one guy spit on me though. But yeah, all that to say, they rarely do the spitting. There's the engine sound as a stalker, you hear him. It's just a really loud car nearby somewhere. I don't see him. And then there's just been a bunch of non-stop cars driving by still the whole time I'm talking again. But yeah, I don't know. It's just crazy. I just feel like talking about it sometimes just because it's just crazy, bro. It's weird, like how, like, are they on like V2K? Like they're getting like V2K, like instructions telling them what to do or something? Is that what's happening? Because they're just walking around like fucking robots and shit. And like doing sync things like without looking at me, you know? Stuff like you know? So they gotta be like V2K'd up or something. Like I think they get the text messages too and shit. But I think they got them V2K'd up, telling them what to do or something. Something. It's just a mystery though. Like I just want to know, like, what is it? What's going on? And why? And what? And why? I'm never gonna know. And that's just crazy. It's just really crazy. Like they know like more than I do about like, you know, like they know if they're being V2K'd. But I don't know, and they're not gonna tell me, and I don't know. But anyway, that's enough rambling. I'm out of here. I'm trying to think of other things that happen because I know there's other things, but I don't know. I'm done talking right now, so later, y'all.